bottom part of that PR. But again, as always had the slashes in the pan. Obviously you fall into the working man trap where you get things change, your priorities shift. You're not always going to get the solid practice you necessarily get. But again, ArHungry's been putting in work at the Fusion weeklies and excuse me, at the Kingdom weeklies. Has been doing a lot of grinding online. Very sweaty Wi-Fi player. So has really been putting in the work and is showing off in spades here. It's probably going to be a steady diet of Cloud to start here, and now we're looking at Meta's pass once again here. Ubo, we're getting into Cloud Strife versus Ness here.
Yeah, I mean, we get another glance at, hey, in previous iterations, Cloud was able to press neutral air, and Syrup or Ness would just have to die.
Yeah.
But
press A to die.
Yeah. But in this game, it's again a lot different. Ness is a lot more like ambiguity with how they play, but in the same vein, Cloud, everything that was strong about Cloud is still there. Yeah, Nair's a little bit smaller, but back air's still a hell of a button.
Yeah, that move has been good for a very long time. And again, like you mentioned, Cloud has not necessarily changed very much. He's a very by-the-book character, like I mentioned. Another one of those chicken fingers and then French fries characters where, it's the gameplay is not going to change that much. All that really changes is, your ability to, understand your positioning, understanding what your opponent's going to do in disadvantage. You see ArHungry as a real student of the game where he's going to be able to, kind of anticipate where Ness is going to go, and also using limit, the buffs from limit that you still get, where, your airspeed increases, you're able to move a little bit quicker through the air, to kind of fight air-to-air with Ness, where other characters don't necessarily get that same benefit. Also, having a sword does help, so, absolutely, like we mentioned.
Like, having that disjoint is a massive boon. In the same way that I like how ArHungry has been approaching, just like playing very grounded, always threatening, like reverse cross slash is just an option you can throw out immediately. Always threatening back air as, oh, how did you get away with that?
Plot armor?
Plot armor. Absolutely, because Syrup should not be dropping those. There's a million things Ness can finish you off with, but instead, it's ArHungry in the driver's seat with a limit online.
Whoa!
Getting called a heck out for that blade beam as we waited with bated breath to see what would happen, and it's Syrup getting another chance at redemption here to close out this stock.
All right, the back there is not going to die just yet, but going to be forced for to jump. And again, what makes this matchup really hard for Cloud is how well can you recover? Like you mentioned, that's Cloud's recovery definitely leaves a lot to be desired, but the good Clouds don't get gimped. And unfortunately, right there for ArHungry, you're forced to burn your resources to recover a little bit, more dangerously, and Syrup not going to miss the teed-up opportunities right there. So still not out of harm's way yet, though. 135 on the tab. ArHungry has proven that he's not going to be pushed over in this matchup.
He's certainly playing neutral extremely well, getting the call out on the dash back with a dash attack. ArHungry in a solid position to do plenty of damage. Cloud's low percent combo game is surprisingly strong, able to get like back air or forward air into cross slash, do a solid chunk of damage. Assuming you can find a landing aerial against Ness, who doesn't stay on the ground for long.
All right, ArHungry taking a bunch of hits there, but able to turn it into a nice little exchange here. Oh, wait a second. Oh, no way! Oh,
the fist bump with it and the awkward jump in from Syrup. Maybe looking to space it and do like a full double jump straight to ledge or something, but ends up going right onto stage, right into this massive down air, and ArHungry, I mean, kudos to him for realizing the scramble and smelling blood in the water.
Yeah, that's a good little fist bump right there for sure. And again, rightfully so. Again, to be able to mount a comeback like that, and again, where this technically is this we're still in 2 out of 3 territory right now.
Yeah,
right?
it's only top 3, which is best of 5, and we are in the round before that.
Yeah, so ArHungry trying to trying to put one on the board here, and again, that's the biggest win that he's had in a while. Again, I feel like ArHungry definitely gets slept on a lot, because the results necessarily haven't been there the whole time since Ultimate's been out. But definitely looking to show that he can still hang around with the big boys. With Let's Go team employed. You know what I'm saying?
Jobbers unite.
Yeah.
I love Cloud's throws. Like, his grab kind of sucks.
They're so cool.
But not only do they look visually cool, and that's what
and also very good.
Yeah, like the grab is terrible. Like, it's like a frame 9 grab. It's absolutely awful. But his throws themselves are really applicable for positioning. And what Cloud does best is position around you with a giant sword, good stats, like solid enough frame data to keep anyone at bay or to play the up-close game. Like, excellent recovery from Syrup.
Yeah,
but
nice play.
like, what ArHungry is just taking advantage of is that experience and that ability where it's like, hey, yeah, like you may not be as up-to-date in all of the meta threats and all of the instant nuances like IDJs and all of that cool stuff, but spacing never dies.
Yeah. Fundies forever, baby.
Fundies forever.
You can take your Minecraft blocks and your one-winged angels and, you know, go to hell with it. Fundies forever.
I've got a big sword and I know how to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Baby, taking that stock.
Yeah, able to use it right there, and going to capitalize on getting about a little bit less than halfway through his limit right there. And again, you're just seeing Syrup kind of struggle again to play around the spacing of the sword. Again, I don't think Cloud is necessarily takes much. I don't want to say computing to counterplay against, but you don't really see a lot of people playing this character. At least locally. You know what I'm trying to say? So.
Yeah, like I see what you mean, Cooper. Like he is deceptively simple, and that deceptively simple in game plan leads to deceptively simple counterplay. But when you get to high level anything, every character theoretically becomes pretty hard. Yeah. And that deceptively simple counterplay comes back to bite you. But ArHungry, aside from twice, has not really been put off stage in positions where he can't recover or can't, at least threaten recovery.
Yes.
He forces Syrup to play around it and to find the extra layer to those win conditions. All in the meantime, Limit is just such a threat. Unfortunately, that's going to do it.
Okay, it looked like he was maybe trying to purposely get hit by the PK Thunder to maybe get himself a better chance at getting.
Oh yeah, the actual.
Taking a little bit of oomph on the climb hazard, but not going to get it. There we go. Fair to the up B. That's going to be a good chunk of damage right there. So, again, not another roam for Syrup either. It is Cloud. All it does take is a strong breeze off stage, and, it can be kudos. But, again, what separates the good Cloud from the bad ones, how well can you recover?
Saving that jump is a good one, but Syrup called out the safe jump, is able to get one back and recover. Good mix-up there from ArHungry, using just all of his resources to make it back. And with Limit online, get to utilize this just for the trigger was pulled, but just whiffing, and the up smash out of shield, calling out maybe the ArHungry, while falling fair, is safe if they are mashing.
Yeah.
Up smash still hits you.
Yes. What was a very close game too here. Syrup able to hold on and survive there. Again, you saw what ArHungry was looking for. It looks like he was maybe anticipating maybe the neutral air. Maybe accounting for some hitbox shifting because of the finishing touch to help him avoid that. But with Syrup landing with the dare instead, that was enough to disrupt that and able to give him the opportunity to win that game there. We're going to Pokemon Stadium 2, so let's see if if ArHungry can lock it down for jobbers everywhere, for jobbers like you and me who have to go to work in like 8 hours.
Yeah. Like, it's a Monday night. We got work in the morning, but we're watching ArHungry start off with a really solid juggle to the tune of 67%. And, I mean, Koopa, you got to wonder. It's like, is Syrup, while ArHungry has been certainly playing amazing in a matchup that is absolutely is still in Cloud favor with everything on paper, Syrup has been doing this for a good long time. But the up smash doesn't close it out. Like, as much as Syrup may have experience in matchups, ArHungry is just playing on fire right now, never letting Syrup get away with anything for free.
Yeah, again, like you mentioned, fundies don't die, and I feel like the way that you fight Ness as Cloud, hasn't really changed much.
Yeah.
Again, the hitbox has got a little bit tighter. The recoveries has gotten a little bit, more precise. But again, the game plan is incredibly simple, as we mentioned. Once you get to a certain level, it all kind of boils down to, to that.
Yeah, thanks to those climb hazard buffs that Cloud got just a little, about a year ago or so. I don't know about the exact timing. But the fact that climb hazard now is reliably poking through ledge, reliably allows you to snap earlier. Things like yo-yo off stage aren't for free, but the back throw at 141 will absolutely do it. Syrup taking this first lead of game number 3.
Ooh, but there we go. Good weight right
Yeah,
there from ArHungry. You know, just was maybe. Yeah, sure.
It's like all of 5 seconds he had that lead going.
Yeah. What Cloud taketh, Cloud giveth right back, or whatever. I'm not a pro, so don't quote me on that.
Yeah. We'll leave the poets to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
That's a no. Listen, like we mentioned, there's been significantly little of that happening, you know, in the set so far. These kind of, you know, unfortunate, you know, low percent kills that you see Cloud kind of fall victim to sometimes. Even Spargo dies at sub 20, man. Like it's rough sometimes.
Sometimes it happens. Like it's you trade that major weakness for a lot of major strengths. Like there's not many characters, as I was mentioning up airs a little earlier, but there's not many characters in this game that have as good as stats of Cloud with a massive disjoint. And, you know, you got to find, if you're speccing in so many areas, you got to find some places where you're weak. And unfortunately, Cloud, it is off stage as Syrup is beginning to continuously exploit. 3% on this second stock as ArHungry gets to hold this Nair, hold this L, and make his way out at a extremely respectable 4th place.
Yeah, man. Listen, that was it was a tough draw for sure. But again, you know, when you're someone who's been kind of, you know, slowly getting your feet back wet into the competitive game. Like I said, Hungry's really been putting the grind on, you know, closer to home around Kingdom, and he's done pretty well there. You know, that still attracts players like BDB and Padrino. You know, people that you recognize here from the Fusion streams. So, you know, now it's all about just taking that and expanding it elsewhere. Again, you know, the hard work is definitely paying off, and you were like that close, man, from taking a set off of a top, you know, 5 player in the state. So.
Frames, right? Like that finishing touch wins him the set.
Yeah.
And unfortunately didn't fall into Hungry's favor, and they have to bow out after a really solid game 3 from Syrup, who, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, Koopa, has just been, you have so much experience against every type of sword imaginable. And Cloud's no different.
Yeah, you got, you know, fusion swords, Aegis swords, swords into Barbie, you know, barbecue swords, you know.
We're hungry for Koopa. We're out of food references tonight. I
definitely could go for something right now.
Someone with you.
But yeah, listen, good stuff there from ArHungry. Again, you know, a valiant effort so far. You know, beating some really good players, you know, to get to this point. And hey, looks good for the apartment. Good job. I'm not paying rent this month, so.